Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel today. Exciting day. So our Chevy Volt has hit 1,000 miles since we bought it. So I'm at 68,939, which is 984 miles since I reset the trip odometer, and I did it with about 15 miles after I bought the vehicle. So I have officially hit 1,000 miles with the Chevy Volt, and I bought it now, I believe, a month ago Saturday. So in a couple more days here, I bought this Volt. So total price was $75,999, and with that, I financed this vehicle because I didn't want to blow any more cash on a vehicle than I already have on my Challenger I bought and a boat, a Ski Nautique. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finance this. I have almost near 850 credit, and I figured, what the hell, I'm just gonna do it. So there's a few reasons why I did that. Of course, with any used EV or plug-in hybrid vehicle that has not been bought more than once for the year of 2024, this qualified for the 30% tax credit. So with that 30% tax credit, as a business owner, this benefits me greatly in that I get to essentially have a credit of 30% off the total retail price of this vehicle. So $2,500-ish, that can be deducted off my taxes next year for a credit. So I won't have to pay in as much money to the government, if I am believing that correctly. So this car qualified for it, and I decided to give it a go. I ran all the numbers, and for Alexa and myself, my girlfriend, it made total sense, as she covers about 30% of the costs and I cover 70% of the costs. So I cover half the payment, half the insurance, and all of the electricity to charge the vehicle and tires, etc. And she just covers the payment and the insurance. So half the insurance, half the payment. And the payment came out to being about $150 a month. So it's $75 for the two of us. So as it sits right now, over the last 1,000 miles, what have I learned from ownership? So first of all, I want to start with this. Looking back at the last 1,000 miles, I haven't taken any road trips except the road trip that I purchased the vehicle with. So over that time, out of the last 1,000 miles, I've used 3.6 gallons of gas. Premium gas, mind you. So that's costing me about $12 or whatever that is. That's fantastic. So it's cost me $12 in gas over the last 1,000 miles to drive this vehicle. So the engine acts as a generator to power the Voltec system, which then takes that power and or that energy and transfers it to the battery, which is great. So it's been phenomenal. It's a quite an easy system, and oh, excuse me, it's early out. It's been quite an easy system, and it's been pretty flawless so far. So ownership, one, I have to say, this isn't the world's fastest car. It's got a 0 to 30 time of 3 seconds, so it's got good pickup there, and then it's got a 0 to 60 time of 9 seconds, so not great there. But I have to say, I've been keeping engaged driving this vehicle because while the steering isn't, there's no feel to the steering, let's just put it that way. It's very direct. I mean, this is direct steering, and while there is, yes, body roll, all the weight of the vehicle is low. The center of gravity on this vehicle is low because, of course, the battery pack sits low underneath the vehicle. So for being 3,900 pounds, this vehicle is actually fairly fun to drive, especially from that 0 to 30. And being an electric vehicle, when you get into the sport mode, the throttle response is direct. There is no lag to it. Funny enough, I have had a few Ski-Doo snowmobiles. I'm relating this to snowmobiling. So I've had a few Ski-Doo snowmobiles with the ICT, Intelligent Throttle Control, or ITC, and there are different modes of that. So Eco, Normal, and Sport mode. So when you get it into Sport mode, there's no throttle lag, and I relate that actually to this vehicle here because it's electric powered, and I know that is a gas engine in there, but it kind of resembles this setup a little bit. Whereas there's no gears. So I find this car pretty engaging to drive. I do have to say I like driving it, and it's unique. Nobody sees one of these on the road, so when people see this, they actually kind of look at it. And when I'm driving my vehicles, I like uniqueness, and I like it when people look at the vehicles. Let's be honest, who doesn't? So I find that pretty unique. I find it interesting that people, will look at this vehicle and are like, hey, what is that? And I'm like, hey, it's a Chevy Volt. It's a 143 horsepower Chevy Volt. So I love it. I love this vehicle. Next thing of ownership. All you have to do is have some sort of and you don't even have to have this garage, which I thankfully do. But all you have to do is have a 12 volt DC plug-in, and you're all set to go to charge this. Just a regular wall outlet, and you're all set to go to charge this, which is great. So I can plug it in at home, where I do have a garage for it, thankfully, and I can plug it in at the golf course at my business. So it works out perfect. Any place you have a plug-in, you can just plug it in. So what have I learned from that? Well, I know my house is costing me about 10 cents a kilowatt hour to charge. So, and my golf course is about 8 to 9 cents a kilowatt hour. So right now, I've driven 4.9 miles. It's costed me 2.1 kilowatt hours used. So essentially, that's 22 cents. That's it. Yesterday I took a picture of it actually. I drove 40 miles and I think it cost, or 45 miles, and I think it cost me $1.50, 60 cents, something like that. So that's the other thing. This is going to save you money. Now, again, here I have to touch on space. This vehicle is so spacious once you put down those second row seats. Even without the second row seats, this is very resemblant of a small crossover. Excuse me, I am tired. This car doesn't do enough to keep you awake. But anyway, going back to the space, you could fit anything you want in here. A dog, golf clubs. That's an important thing for me. Golf clubs, you can fit anything with that rear seat down or even up. There's plenty of room back there. So this is spacious. It's decently fun to drive. It keeps you engaged, and yeah, it's great. The color is nice. It's not too, it hides the colors decently well, and it's fun to drive. It's spacious. So a few other things from what I've learned here. I guess I really have no negative to say. This was part of my negative part of the review. So a few other things I've learned, I guess. The interior on this isn't nice, but at the end of the day, for me, this is the 5th car in our fleet of cars. I don't care about the interior. Yeah, it doesn't have memory seats, it doesn't have leather seats, but for me, I don't care. I truly don't care about that. The infotainment is nice, and everything has held up very well over the last 1,000 miles. And this car is almost at 70,000 miles, so I will do a review once it hits 70,000 miles and discuss some things in there. But overall, I have to say I'm impressed. I'm impressed with this vehicle. I like it. Yeah, the materials aren't great in it, but who cares? For $7,500 after the tax credit, you're looking at Oh gosh, a hair over $5,000 for this vehicle. Who wouldn't want to buy this? Now, of course, I don't have any experience winter driving this vehicle, but over the last 1,000 miles, it's been good. Of course, for me, I know I can get about 35 miles out of a charge here, 30 to 35. Now, with me, I like to drive a little bit more aggressive. So for that fact, it's saying that I get about 29 to 30 miles on a charge, but I know you can kind of fiddle with that a little bit because that's giving you a guesstimation of you know, how much it thinks you have based on your driving history. So of course I like to drive in sport mode a little bit, and that definitely doesn't help the mileage. Moving forward, the climate control, that's another thing I've learned. The climate control sucks. The automatic system in this vehicle isn't great. You've got so many different options in the climate control, from fan to eco to comfort, and then auto recirculation or regular recirculation of air. So for me, I guess, you know, you can manual control it, but for me it's fine. I'm used to automatic in every other car. So this automatic is of course the most economical, and I do appreciate that. It is what it is. Now, I do like to drive this in low all the time just for the regenerative braking, so it's more so like one pedal braking, and I haven't had any issues with that yet. And everything's held up fine here. The tires I am going to change, but yeah, I have to say I'm impressed with the car. So let's take a look at the outside of the vehicle here and go from there. All right, so taking a look at the exterior here, how the vehicle has held up, and over the last 1,000 miles here, there was a little bit of paint imperfections here on the Volt when I bought it, but I did a paint correction and pretty much got what I could. Now, of course, looking at the exterior here, here's the hatch and all of the room that I have in here. So I've got a 40-pound bag of weed and feed fertilizer and some stuff underneath, and I could close this just fine. So again, you know, the exterior has held up very well. All the panel gaps look really good. I mean, for the money, Chevrolet really did a damn good job at putting this car together. It's sleek. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's sexy, but you've got daytime running lights here that when you're in it and driving, they're blue kind of LED lights. You know, the front looks really good. The grille looks good. The one thing that hasn't held up here is the Chevrolet logo there. And of course, you can't take that off either, which sort of sucks. But man, I have to say, I mean, this is a dang good looking vehicle for the money. And it's held up well. What can I say? You got a little bit of wormage there. 17-inch tires or rims on here. Right now, I have to switch out these Mastercrafts once they're done. These are terrible, terrible tires, but they're 215, 55 R17s. And, you know, everything looks really good. The dash looks good here. Not a lot of fading on the plastic. I mean, it's really just a great overall vehicle. Pretty impressed. You know, some paint chips here and there, which I've tried to touch up, but the paint on this vehicle seems very strong. The clear coat and the paint seems very strong on this vehicle compared to even my Ram truck or some of my other cars in that back room. So, all right, guys. Well, that will do it here. So